Let's back up a quick second to talk about what triggers us towards distraction. So there are two types of triggers. We have external triggers and internal triggers. External triggers, these are the usual suspects. It's the pings, the dings, the rings, anything in our outside environment that can lead us towards distraction. But it turns out, even though that's what most people think about when they think about distraction, they think, oh, my phone was buzzing, or I got called by my boss, or my kids came in. Like, they think about the stuff outside themselves. It turns out that 90%, 90% of the times we get distracted, we don't get distracted by what happens outside of us. We get distracted by what happens inside of us, and internal triggers. And studies have found this. They found that 90% of the time that you check your phone, you are checking your phone because of an internal trigger. What is an internal trigger? An internal trigger is an uncomfortable emotional state that we seek to escape from. Boredom, loneliness, fatigue, uncertainty, stress, anxiety. We look for escape from these uncomfortable sensations. Distraction overwhelmingly begins from within. And we have to understand this point first, because look, whether it's too much news, too much booze, too much football, too much Facebook, we will always get distracted by something unless we understand that deeper reason that we are looking for escape. Because look, all human behavior, we used to think it was about carrots and sticks. It's not true. All human behavior is about the desire to escape discomfort. Everything we do is about the desire to escape discomfort. This is called the homeostatic response. So, for example, if you're, physically, if you go outside and it's cold, the brain says, ooh, that's not comfortable. You should put on a coat. But if you go back inside, now it's too hot. The brain says, it's too hot, not comfortable anymore. This doesn't feel good. Take off your jacket. And so the same thing happens inside our heads, right? When we feel uncomfortable emotions, when you're lonely, check Facebook. When you're uncertain, you Google. When you're bored, oh, lots of solutions to boredom, right? We can go on Pinterest, check stock score prices, sports scores. The best one, let's check the news, right? So we can worry about somebody's problem thousands of miles away as opposed to having to deal with our own issues. Right? We are always looking for escape from our discomfort. So why does this happen? This happens because of what's called temporal discounting, that we as a species, we have this cognitive quirk that we look for immediate gratification over the long-term rewards. So even though we know, hey, the right thing to do is to go exercise, is to eat right? We don't do it because right now we could stay home and watch Netflix and eat a pint of Ben and Jerry's. Right? We don't spend time with our kids because sometimes our kids are boring and annoying. We'd much rather just watch TV or check email, right? To escape, right? And we see this in all sorts of domains. And let me something we didn't cover. It's not about the behavior itself. Okay, so I want to be the last person to vilify any particular technology. If you want to watch Netflix all day, play video games, that's great. There's no problem with that, because any action can be traction or distraction. Traction or distraction. Traction, by definition, is any action that pulls you towards what you said you're going to do, things you do with intent, things that move you closer to your goals and help you become the kind of person you want to become, help you live out your values. So if you decide, you know what, I want to play video games for an hour, no problem, do it. You want to go on Facebook, you want to pray, meditate, paint, it doesn't matter. As long as that's what you plan to do according to your schedule and your values, great, you should do it. But if it's not what you plan to do, it's by definition a distraction. And many times those distractions, the really dangerous ones, the most common ones, are the ones that we don't even realize are distracting us. Let me give you a great example. For years, I would sit down at my desk and I would say, okay, I really have to work on that big project today. Okay, I really need to focus. I'm not going to let myself get distracted. No more procrastinating. I'm going to work on that project right now. Here I go. I'm going to get started. But first, let me check email, right? Let me just do those easy tasks on my to-do list, because then I feel productive. I'm doing work, right? I'm doing work-related tasks. I got to check email sometime today. I got to check those boxes on my to-do list at some point. But if it's not what you plan to do with your time, it's still a distraction. And in fact, it's the most dangerous form of distraction, because it's the kind of distraction that tricks you into prioritizing the easy work and the urgent work at the expense of the hard and important work that is essential for moving your life and your career forward. So just because something is worky doesn't mean it's not a distraction. It's just as evil as Facebook and video games if it's not what you plan to do with your time. I see so many professionals running real fast in the wrong direction, right? Because of busyness, not business, but busyness. It's this toxic culture that we live in that as long as I'm running real fast, then that's somehow morally superior. No, if you're doing the wrong stuff, you are just as distracted. You might as well have gone and played video games. And this is the biggest problem I see. You know, I do a lot of angel investing. I've invested in $3 billion companies. I've made dozens of angel investments. And I see this all the time with entrepreneurs who do not understand that their number one job is to prioritize. If you can't prioritize in your business, in your life, if you don't know how to properly prioritize and execute on what you say you are going to do, your business will fail, your personal life is going to suffer, your psychological well-being is going to suffer, because we have got to live with personal integrity by becoming indistractable.